Hello and welcome to the award-winning Waterman Wellness, your pathway to health and wellness with local experts as your guides. I'm Lisa Kreitz. We have a lot in store for you in this March episode, including a local woman shares how Lake County doctors wouldn't give up on identifying the diagnosis that sent her to the emergency room. It bears repeating. Repetitive activity can lead to painful problems. A local doctor will explain how to treat carpal tunnel syndrome. And we'll introduce you to the treatment for patients who have troublesome and long-lasting wounds. It's available right here in Lake County. We begin this episode focused on colorectal cancer, the second leading cause of cancer deaths. According to medical experts, the good news about colorectal cancer is that the disease is highly preventable and very treatable if caught early. The disease affects people in all racial and ethnic groups, men and women equally, and most patients are aged 50 and older. While the exact cause of colon cancer is not known, risk factors include family history, personal history of cancer, diet and lifestyle, and smoking. Doctors right here in Lake County offer the latest treatment advances should you or a loved one be diagnosed with colon cancer.
Treatment-wise, of course, anytime you diagnose a colon cancer, the first option is surgery. The surgery is the one that takes the tumor out of the body. And once the surgery is done, the patient comes to see the medical oncologist.
We certainly do a lot of colorectal surgery, and this is for both benign and malignant diseases. We have patient comes in with a newly diagnosed colon cancer from a GI physician, and you can see that they're very worried, they're upset, and the first thing we tell them is that you're going to be okay. And second, we tell them is that we will evaluate your case, we will do a CAT scan, but more than likely we will be able to do the resection of the colon cancer for you laparoscopically, and before they know it, the cancer will be removed and they will be home.
So based upon the patient situation, you make a decision after that colon cancer was removed, whether the patient requires chemotherapy prior to the surgery. The common thing I hear when we talk to patients about chemotherapy was they would say, hey, I have my grandfather had a terrible problem with chemotherapy. What we have done is, as physicians, we have gotten better how you manage the side effects. If you're choosing an oncologist, it is a cookbook for us. What kind of drugs to give you, what kind of chemotherapy drugs. Anybody can do that. But how well they can manage your side effects, how well they can manage you getting through the chemotherapy part, that is where you can assess your oncologist.
You'll find resources for cancer prevention as well as local specialists who can help you or a loved one by visiting fhwatermancancer.com. You or your loved one may be one of 5 million Americans who have a wound or sore that just won't heal. In our next story, we introduce you to specialized therapy for troublesome injuries.
I was sitting in a porch swing and the end of it broke and it just sliced the back of my leg, my right leg, just sliced it down to the tendons and the bone.
Taylor was referred to the Florida Hospital Waterman Wound and Hyperbaric Center.
The only thing I remember them saying is, wow, you're going to hyperbaric right away.
Taylor was prescribed 100 sessions in the hyperbaric chamber, which occurred daily for 2 hours a day.
Basically, what hyperbaric oxygen therapy does is it increases the amount of oxygen that we can deliver at the tissue level. Tissues that are already damaged because of a lack of vascular supply, oxygen supply, need that oxygen in order to heal. So when we put a patient in the chamber, increase the percentage of oxygen, and then pressurize that whole system, that delivers more oxygen where it's needed to tissue that is damaged.
They made me feel at ease. They would make sure my head was adjusted where I could be comfortable and I could turn and move, but usually, and they had a big screen TV on the outside of it, so you got to pick your movie. Girls were wonderful. They became like family.
Now back to work, Taylor says she's walking normal, but her leg is still a little weak due to nerve damage.
One of the doctors that come back, he looked at it and he says, if it wasn't for the hyperbaric treatment, you would have lost your leg.
You'll find information about the Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center by visiting fhwaterman.com. Next, we turn our focus to heart health and efforts to raise awareness to prevent cardiac disease. Happy Heart Day, God bless you. Even young children need to be aware of the consequences of heart disease and ways to prevent it. That's why Florida Hospital Waterman offered educational events throughout February, which is Heart Month. A huge inflatable heart offered children and adults a close-up at cardiovascular functions. They even observed examples of heart disease and the latest treatments for heart problems.
It was cool how you could see all the blood veins and all that. It was just confusing how it worked at first, but then once we started studying it, and then when I saw this, and then it just helped me.
Oftentimes, heart disease is a factor of habit and lifestyle. So by showing children at an early age in a very demonstrable way how to care for their heart and to really make it real as opposed to an abstract concept, I think we believe over time they will develop the habits and the skills they need to live a healthier life.
Additionally, the hospital offered free screenings where participants received information to help them make lifestyle improvements based on their individual results.
I'm always interested in health and especially cardiac health because I've had some issues, so I want to learn to have all the information I can so that I can improve the situation and live a healthier life.
Got my triglycerides, your cholesterol levels, and so that's important for me. My blood pressure checked, which is good.
Because 1 in 4 women die from heart disease, the Women's Hot Topic Breakfast focused exclusively on information to keep them healthy and balanced.
It's the balance of the hormones that actually protect us from getting cardiovascular diseases. And so that's why I talk about the balance. We've got to make sure that our nutrition is good. We've got to make sure that we exercise. We've got to make sure that we have a stress reduction. And make sure that we have good balance by checking it and then optimizing what's lost.
Year-round, you'll find helpful resources about cardiac health by visiting the website fhwatermanheart.com. It's time to take a short break, but we'll have plenty more when Waterman Wellness continues. The community rallies to enhance emergency care at a local hospital. We'll tell you the plans for improving the patient experience. A Leesburg nurse shares how excruciating pain that affected her work was relieved with an outpatient procedure. Plus, Chef Day's version of a lunchtime wrap will keep you satiated, yet still wanting more. You'll find additional health and wellness information in Waterman Wellness magazine. Visit watermanwellness.com to arrange for home delivery, and you'll also find a listing of the specialists featured in this month's episode. First, you or your loved ones might be interested in attending one of the following community events or seminars. Welcome back to the award-winning Waterman Wellness, your pathway to healthy living with help from local experts. I'm Lisa Kreitz. Our next story is important to anyone who uses a computer on a regular basis, whether you are young or old. Carpal tunnel syndrome is one of the most common conditions affecting nerves in the hand.
You do something constantly, repetitively, and you end up with a problem. And with carpal tunnel, we see people that use their hands and wrists repeatedly. They use them for the most common thing we see nowadays is use of a keyboard. People that are on a keyboard all day long are resting their wrists on the surface of a hard desk or surface, and what they're doing is putting pressure on the area of the wrist where that nerve runs. And over the course of time, they will begin to develop sometimes enough irritation from that constant use that it begins to cause pressure on the nerve.
Numbness, tingling, then it started being more painful. So instead of it just being uncomfortable, it became painful. And then it started being where I couldn't sleep at night, I couldn't get it up or down or any way, and the pain would just be burning, hot fire pain.
There's a lot of ways you can treat carpal tunnel. Not all of them surgical. Some people have tried putting patients on a B-complex vitamin. For some reason, this seems to benefit people with carpal tunnel. There are wrist splints you can wear that will immobilize the wrist. Some physicians actually will inject some steroids into the carpal tunnel itself in hopes of relieving some of the inflammation and relieving symptoms that way. My experience has been that most of the things that are done in that fashion tend to be temporary.
Sergio, who is a nurse, decided to get permanent relief and chose Lake County physicians who are board certified in hand surgery.
You have a ligament, a very long and fibrous ligament, and that space between the bone circle and the ligament is called the carpal tunnel. Not only does the nerve run through there, but a lot of tendons as well. And what we do in the operation is simply make a small incision that's at the base of the hand and onto the proximal wrist, and it zigzags across the crease of the wrist so you don't create problems with the scar. Then all we do is cut that ligament. You do it, carefully under direct vision. You can see exactly what you're doing. It takes about 20-25 minutes to do that.
Had it done Thursday afternoon, and Monday was back at work, and it's amazing. I could start IVs and still use my fingers, but immediately I had no burning pain, no shooting pain, and to have just a little bit of surgical discomfort was nothing compared to what I had been through.
Dr. Bossart says it's important to take precautions to prevent the condition.
Pay attention to what you're doing. If you find that you're doing something constantly, then take breaks periodically, get away from the keyboard and move your arm position and so forth. The other is to place there's a lot of gel pads you can purchase that will allow you to rest your wrist on something that is softer and not as likely to cause problems.
If you'd like to find a specialist to consult with about hand-related issues, visit the website on your screen. Next, we visit the Conry CREATION Health Center kitchen, where Caroline Rowland and the Florida Hospital team will introduce a delicious sandwich option.
Are you getting enough fiber? Chances are you're not. So what foods are high in fiber and good for you? We're going to talk about that today and also put a meal together that's high in fiber. Now we're joined with Florida Hospital Waterman's Executive Chef David Atkinson, also Candace Huber, the Director of Creation Health here. Now Candace, can you tell us a little bit about what some good fiber foods are and tell us a little bit about what we're going to be making today?
Well, today we're going to be making an Italian bean pesto wrap. So it's very flavorful, very high in fiber, and we're using red kidney beans. A cup of red kidney beans is almost half of the recommended daily allowance for fiber. So it's a great recipe, great food, tastes great.
Great, so we're gonna take all of this food and make it into something tasty, which is high in fiber. So Dave, you wanna get us started with this?
Sure. This it's basically a bulgur wheat salad that we're gonna add some kidney beans, some pesto, balsamic vinegar, red peppers, and black pepper, and then basically just mix it up. So what we're going to do is mix all these ingredients together and then wrap it up in our tortilla. Very simple. If you don't have a lot of time, but you're looking for a filling lunch or even dinner, this is the way to go. This actually gets better as it sits in the refrigerator. So I would probably make it the night before that I needed it and then just let it sit in the fridge. We'll just fold the sides in and wrap it up. And that's it, quick and easy.
If you'd like the Italian beans with pesto wrap recipe, visit watermanwellness.com. Efforts to enhance emergency care in Lake County got a big boost recently. Florida Hospital Waterman's 2016 Celebration of Life Gala on January the 30th helped kick off a 3-year capital campaign to raise $5 million for the emergency department.
Most of the admissions that come into this hospital come through that portal. Number one, we want to increase the capacity. Number two, we want to provide better privacy for each of the patients that's coming through. And then number three, we want to implement some innovations.
More than 200 attendees enjoyed delicious food, auction items, and a live musical performance, helping to raise $120,000.
One of our speakers was a community member, Tara Dufresne, and she gave a really impassioned personal experience that she had in our emergency department and really spurred us on.
I was actually in boot camp class working out with a bunch of my friends. Boot camp class is where you basically do crazy exercise and you just run from one extreme exercise to another repetitively as fast as you can. I got to the top of the steps and it felt as if someone hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat. Had never had a headache before, so didn't realize the intensity, if it was severe or not severe. We had a couple of nurses in class who took my blood pressure and said, you know, you probably need to go and just make sure that everything is okay. I was transported by an ambulance to Florida Hospital Waterman, the emergency department. Was seen immediately by Dr. Young.
So my role in the emergency department is to ensure that we are all practicing a medicine that is of the highest standard. Waterman has put a significant amount of emphasis on the emergency department for a really good reason. The emergency department, really at any hospital, but particularly at Waterman, it is the face of the hospital.
I do remember the doctor being very, very calm and just saying to me, you know, I think I know what your problem is, but the test results don't show that. We're going to have to do a lumbar puncture, so, you know, I need you to, you know, get in this position so that I'm able to do that. One of the biggest things I remember really about that is his calmness, because that really, I never understood the severity of what could be wrong with me. Basically what they said to me was there was a possibility that I had had a brain aneurysm.
When patients come into the emergency department and they are in their greatest time of need, obviously they don't plan for it. So when they don't plan for it, we have to be prepared for that. And so our role is to expect the unexpected, to realize that variability is going to happen. There is nothing we can do to stop that. And I think Florida Hospital Waterman has identified that very well, and they've realized that when people come to Waterman or when they come to the emergency department, it really reflects on the entire hospital. So these are all things that are not just important to the hospital and to the physicians that work here, but they're most important to the patients that have to come to our hospital so that we can obviously deliver what they expect.
We have to have this amazing facility with doctors that are very educated and who can help save our lives. Because of this hospital, I'm still here. It's still a part of my family. It still helps support the community. And I think it's very important.
You can learn more about upcoming Florida Hospital Waterman Foundation events by visiting fhwatermandonate.org. We hope you've enjoyed this month's episode of Waterman Wellness, your pathway to healthy living with help from local experts. Be sure to watch for the April episode right here on Lake Central TV for some of the following stories. New technology that enhances specialist collaboration means cancer patients have better access to treatments and resources right here at home. We'll have that story. A Lake County geriatrician will share important insight for seniors and their caregivers about the dangers of taking multiple medications and how to manage side effects. And Chef Dave will have a recipe that satisfies your sweet tooth, but it's still good for you. To learn more about the experts featured in this program, please visit watermanwellness.com. Until next time, I'm Lisa Kreitz for the award-winning Waterman Wellness.